The Halden Motors lab echoed with laughter and the metallic scent of burnt oil. A half-dozen engineers stood in a loose circle around a rusted prototype engine, a colossal hunk of metal forgotten in time. 10 years, one of them snorted. This thing's more dead than my ex's houseplants. Their laughter bounced off the steel walls just as the janitor's cart rolled in. Layla Brooks, 17, in her father's oversized work jacket, paused with her mop in hand. She'd heard them joke about the phantom engine before, but today she stopped to listen. Mark Dwyer, the lead engineer, glanced her way with a smirk. "Careful, sweetheart," he said. "That tech's smarter than you." Layla tilted her head, studying the engine's silence. "Not if you listen to it," she murmured. The room erupted in laughter. Phones came up, ready to film the janitor's daughter embarrassing herself again. Layla set down the mop, reached out and tapped one panel near the ignition coil, a single, practiced movement. A low hum rolled through the floor. The laughter died instantly. But when Layla twisted one loose bolt, the narrator says, the sound that followed made even the experts freeze. Hours earlier, the lab was empty, just the echo of dripping pipes and the faint hum of machines cooling down for the night. Layla Brooks swept the floor beside her father, Samuel, who whistled low, tired but steady. While he wiped grease from the counters, she knelt near a trash bin overflowing with old manuals and blueprints. She gently pulled one out, brushing dust from its cover. Halden Motors prototype, the phantom engine. She'd heard the stories, how it had bankrupted a department, how no one could make it run. Yet every night she studied the pages by flickering light, tracing circuits with her fingers, whispering to herself the way her father once did to calm his nerves. Samuel glanced at her, shaking his head with a half-smile. "You can know machines, baby," he said, tightening a bolt on his cart. "But people, they break easier." The next morning, Mark Dwyer strutted through the lab, coffee in hand, ignoring Samuel as if he were part of the furniture. "Layoffs coming soon," he whispered to another engineer. "Some of us are too expensive to lose." Layla kept cleaning quietly, her gaze drifting to the corner, to the phantom engine covered in dust. Later, when everyone left for lunch, she passed by and paused. Beneath the grime, she heard something faint, a pulse, a hum, like a heartbeat beneath metal. Her heart raced. She leaned in, hand on the panel, listening to the whisper of dormant power. She didn't know it yet, but that sound was about to rewrite everything they thought they knew about failure. By lunchtime, the whole lab buzzed with gossip about Layla's little performance. When she cautiously approached Mark at the workstation, notebook in hand, he chuckled without looking up. "You're still thinking about that pile of junk?" "Sweetheart, even NASA couldn't fix that thing." Layla hesitated, then asked quietly, "Mind if I take another look after hours?" He smirked. "Sure, just don't mop up the engine oil with your dreams." That night, long after the lights dimmed, Layla crept back in with her father's old metal toolbox. The hinges squeaked softly as she opened it. The smell of oil and rust felt like home. She spread out her father's handwritten notes and compared them to the phantom engine's diagrams she'd memorized from those discarded manuals. Then she saw it. One small circuit rerouted incorrectly. A single mistake buried under years of arrogance. Her pulse quickened. She whispered, "They never listened." By morning, she was tightening the last bolt when voices echoed behind her. Mark's mocking tone cut through the room. "Gonna fix it with your mop, Brooks?" Layla didn't flinch. She picked up her father's voltmeter and clipped it to the circuit. "Voltage mismatch between the intake relay and starter line," she said calmly. The lead technician frowned, checking the monitor. "Wait, she's right," Mark's smirk faltered. "Fine then, genius. If you think you can fix it, go ahead." Layla adjusted the copper leads, rewired the faulty connection, and turned the ignition dial. For a breathless moment, nothing. Then a single spark. A hum built deep within the machine, low, steady, alive. The lights flickered as the engine roared back to life, shaking the entire lab. Samuel dropped his keys in shock, eyes wide with pride and disbelief. And when the engine roared to life after 10 silent years, the narrator says, even her father dropped his keys. What would you do if you were there? Mock her too or bet on the underdog? The phantom engine roared like a beast awakened from a decade of sleep. Dust rained from the rafters. The floor trembled beneath the power of its pulse. Engineers swarmed around, scribbling readings, shouting numbers. No error codes, one stammered. It's running perfectly, smooth as silk. Mark stood motionless, face pale under the flickering lab lights. The same machine he'd mocked her for touching now hummed like new, because of her. Samuel's voice cracked with emotion. That's my girl, Layla exhaled slowly, wiping her hands on an old rag. Her calm tone cut through the chaos. It just needed someone to listen. Corporate managers burst through the glass doors, eyes wide at the spectacle. What in God's name? Who fixed this? Mark stepped forward, panic flickering behind his smirk. But before he could speak, the lead technician raised a hand. She did, he said firmly, pointing to Layla. The janitor's daughter. Silence fell. Then murmurs rippled across the lab, disbelief melting into awe. Mark swallowed hard, staring at Layla, who handed him the wrench she'd used. You dropped this, she said softly, her eyes steady. Next time, maybe try using it instead of your mouth. The room erupted in laughter and applause, not mocking this time, but respect. Share this if you still believe talent can come from the most unexpected places. But when the CEO arrived minutes later, Layla learned the engine wasn't the only thing about to change her life. The applause faded, but the weight of the moment stayed heavy in the air. Layla turned to Mark, still holding the wrench between them. You can keep this, she said gently. It's the tool that taught me to never quit. Mark's shoulders dropped, his pride finally quiet. For the first time, he didn't have a comeback, only silence. Moments later, the CEO stepped forward, extending a hand. Miss Brooks, Halden Engineering owes you more than a thank you. How would you feel about a full scholarship to our academy? Layla blinked, speechless, as Samuel wrapped an arm around her shoulders, his voice trembling with pride. Now they'll call you Miss Brooks, he whispered. Weeks passed. The once-forgotten phantom engine now stood in the company's glass lobby, gleaming under new lights. A brass plaque beneath it read, Restarted by Layla Brooks, daughter of Samuel Brooks, Halden Janitorial. Every morning, workers who once mocked her greeted her with smiles and coffee. Even Mark nodded respectfully when she passed by, now a humbled student in her training group. In the final scene, Layla walks through the lab, not with a mop this time, but in a crisp white engineer's coat. Her father's old keychain dangles from her belt, clinking softly with each step. She pauses by the humming phantom engine, rests her hand on its side and smiles. Still breathing, she whispers. Subscribe for more stories where courage turns into legacy. What if the people we overlook today are the ones who'll restart the world tomorrow?